All right, so I've got a beautiful BMW R18 First Edition in the garage, and I love the classic big boxer engine and the heritage styling. But BMW have just dropped the R18 Roctane. It's got amazing bag of looks, a bigger front wheel, and it's an absolute riot to ride. Is the Roctane the best R18 yet? And more importantly for me, is it time to sell my First Edition and upgrade?
So let's start thumbs up with starting the Roctane because it's quite theatrical.
It is theatrical.
It kind of rocks side to side like a deranged animal. Maybe not that extreme, but pretty close.
I reckon it is that extreme.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it jumps a metre to the left when you start it up. And it's something that every time I start my R18 First Edition, and really any R18 I've started, it just makes me smile.
100%.
So much fun.
It's nearly 2-litre boxer twin. So it's got quite a lot of inertia, but that kind of sets the precedent for the whole riding experience. It's just kind of weird, crazy, and fun. And it's proof that Germans know how to do things that are a little bit silly.
Yeah, it's a bit quirky.
Yeah.
So this bike's all about torque. So the horsepower is exactly the same as the other R18s, but this one's got about 5 Newton meters more torque than the other bikes in the range. Did you notice the additional torque? I didn't.
5 Newton meters, it's the same amount I apply to a door handle. You're just not going to notice it.
So next up for me was the styling. I actually really liked this whole bag of look. It's not something that I normally like. I think as I get older, I'm really starting to appreciate this look.
Yeah.
Loved the headlight. Love the clock in the headlight, and it's got things like usable things like tyre pressure monitoring.
Yep.
As well as your trip meters and stuff like that.
Yeah, the finish on the paint is really primo, particularly on those bags. And the big wheel, which looks surprisingly good. It's a 21-incher and doesn't really affect handling in a negative way. It kind of turns on a dime.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't think it would handle as well as it does.
Yeah.
All R18s, I'm surprised at how well they handle. But with the 21-inch front wheel on this, I thought, it could be a bit compromised, could be a bit sluggish, could be a bit, you might have to muscle it around corners a bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Does not affect the handling at all, and that's really surprising.
Yeah, agreed. Gloss black wheels, that's not very BMW.
Yeah, no, it's not, is it? Yeah, but it looks great. But let us know what you think of this whole bag of look. I'm starting to really enjoy it. Let us know what you think.
Unless you're a Harley person.
A lot of people don't really like the sound of boxer engines. I do.
They sound like an old plane. They sound like the Germans are flying overhead. But the thing is, the pipes look good until you see a First Edition.
Yeah.
And I know you'd agree.
Oh,
Those like fishtail exhaust things that they put on the First Edition, you just can't beat the look of them.
A lot of people don't like those though. Having said that,
Yeah.
the black chrome pipes and headers on this are stunning.
Oh yeah.
That black chrome, that should be everywhere on these bikes because it just looks awesome. It's not just the black chrome headers, it's the push rods as well. Black chrome on the push rods, really nice touch. Really, really premium.
And it does sound a bit throatier than your First Edition too.
It does, yeah. That's the biggest issue with the fishtails on my First Edition. The sound it's quite muted, but that the pipes on this, I actually think they sound pretty good. Okay, so I found this bike seriously comfortable, and I think the seat was awesome. But on top of that, the suspension I found really good, and that's probably my biggest gripe with the First Edition.
Okay.
Is the rear suspension in particular is really harsh, and the seat is really, really hard. And I thought it would bed in a bit more.
Yeah.
But I jumped on it the other day, and it's still really firm. So this bike, fantastic. I could easily ride this all day in its stock form. No dramas for me. But you had a bit of an issue with the suspension.
Well, okay, I agree that it's the Hume Highway King, and it is actually really comfortable, even compared to the First Edition.
Yeah.
But over small bumps, not big bumps, but small bumps, I think because of that extended rake and the bigger wheel and possibly a thinner tyre, it gets a little bit unsettled. Over big bumps, it's fine. So 90% of the time, it rides great.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a cruiser. Handling and, brakes and everything are secondary to how it looks.
Well, I still think the handling and the brakes are really, really good.
Yeah.
Compared to other big cruisers that I've ridden with, maybe the exception of the Diavel.
Yeah, well,
That
that doesn't count.
Ground clearance was a lot more than my bike as well. I didn't scrape the pegs at all, and I'm always scraping the pegs on my First Edition.
Yeah.
You did scrape the
one
boards?
touchdown in the national park.
Okay,
that's it.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. In terms of colours, it comes in black storm metallic, mineral grey metallic, and the one we had, which we've mentioned it, looks sensational. Dragonfire red metallic.
Yeah.
For me, that's the only option you would go.
Starting to sound like BMW again. Your options are black, grey, and red, which is, it's stylish. It's supposed to stand out. Why would you get black or grey? I don't.
As a photographer, as a cameraman, black bikes do not shoot well, do not photograph well, I don't think.
Yeah.
The grey one, it's matte. I'm like, yeah, it's a bit dull. Dragonfire red, way to go. Let us know what you think about the colours. Which one would you go if you were buying this bike?
So yeah, 32 grand is expensive, but the closest rival that comes to mind, and maybe it's because I was just riding one, is the Harley-Davidson Breakout. So that's also a big wheel with an extended rake. It's kind of like a bad guy's bike.
How do they ride comparatively?
Well, the brakes are worse. Power's about the same. Okay. Ride's worse. Handling's worse. And for your money, the Breakout is 40 grand.
Ooh, okay, so 32 is actually okay.
So let's start with the obvious. It doesn't have a fuel gauge again.
What is going on there?
I don't know. And we criticised this with the First Edition, and I kind of thought they'd get the memo.
But it's not just, it's like a lot of these heritage BMWs. The R12S was the same.
Yep.
All of the R9Ts are the same.
Yep.
My First Edition was the same. They've got tyre pressure monitoring
exactly.
in there. Please put a fuel gauge, not for me, but for everyone else who wants a fuel gauge.
Hey, if I'm forking out 32 grand, I want a fuel gauge.
What about 25 grand?
Yeah, I can take it or leave it.
Okay, so for me, the next thing is the colour. Now, look, as I said, I love the colour. But a black headlight, when you've got this beautiful red tank, beautiful red bags, mate, give it a red headlight. I think that would flow so much better. And while you're at it, I would actually bling it right up and do red rocker covers as well.
Oh, okay.
Is that too much for you?
I'm glad you're not at the BMW styling.
Mate, that would be sensational. So, like, on my R65, I did a nice, it's a sparkly grey colour, and we did the headlight and the rocker covers and the tank and the rear guard and the front guard all in the same grey. It flows beautifully. And I think, bling it up with this red, mate, it's an ostentatious bike anyway. Let's bling it right up. I think that's what you need to do.
BMW. Add Ross's R65 to your mood board for the next one.
Absolutely. Now, the bags.
Yeah.
Great that it has bags. I've got to be honest, not a lot of room in them.
They're kind of weirdly shaped, aren't they?
They are. I mean, weirdly shaped in a good way because they look great.
Yeah.
From the outside.
In the inside, it's like the opposite of a TARDIS, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bizarre. You open them and you go, holy shit, there's no room in there at all. Now, having said that, when I go ride these bikes, generally I'm taking a couple of cameras and a tripod and all that sort of stuff. Those bags fill up really quickly with that stuff. Yeah. So if you're touring without that kind of thing, I think you'll be fine because you might have to put a backpack on as well. But yeah, not a lot of room in those bags. One up touring, probably okay. For me, I would need to put a bag on the back as well.
Yeah. As can be expected with a near 2 litre boxer twin, you're not going to ride this to work. I did, but
so did I.
That's we're not normal people. But once you get out onto the open road and you're touring, or even if you're doing a spirited ride, this thing comes into its own.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun, and it's so characterful, and it's so refined, and it's classy, and it looks good, and you can't help but smile when you're riding it. I think it deserves an 8. It's not going to go higher than that because it's kind of limited in its use case. Also, those bags, as you said, they're a little bit of a letdown. Like, the space is kind of weird inside. What did you think?
So, I thought it was an absolutely phenomenal machine. I thought it was an absolute riot to ride. I love the whole look.
Yep.
Particularly the headlight and the 21-inch front wheel.
Yep.
But as I said, I've never really been a big bagger fan, but I'm starting to like them. Having the bags is handy. I love the comfort and I love the cruise control, which mine doesn't have either.
Yeah.
If I was looking to buy an R18 today, this would probably be the one.
Ooh, okay. So you're selling your R18?
So, well, that's what I was going to say. Is it enough for me to sell my R18? Well, not quite. I still think the First Edition is the best looking of the range.
I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fishtails. I love the classic styling of that bike. It really taps into BMW's heritage.
Yep.
And it's a bike that I just adore and I love riding.
Yep.
So, but with mine, the suspension and the seat are a bit of an issue.
Okay.
Not so on the Roctane. So for me, it's about a 9.
Yeah, fair call from the R18, man.
So I'm really lucky that I've written quite a few R18s now, and you can see them all in a playlist over here.